Hi everybody. Well, we're down in the old saddle shop today, but we're not working on saddles. It's time to do another quick gun video. So I've got this Remington 1894, and I can maybe tell you a little bit more about the 1894 for those of you that don't know, but they're a fantastic old classic side-by-side. This one here is a BE model. So the B that's got a little bit of engraving there. I don't know if you can make it out. It says Remington here. Then it's got Damascus barrels, really nice barrels. And what distinguishes the 1894 from the 1900 is it's got this dealing edge style fore-end release. And then, yeah, so here's what I got to tell you about this gun. So we gotta fix some things. It's sort of, somebody had converted it into a trap gun. It really shoots nice. I can bust clays with it. Barrels are full, 30 inch. The gun really shoots where you look. But look at this hideous looking stock. Somebody tried to convert it into a trap, and they actually probably did okay, but if you look at it this way, you can see that the stock is actually lower here than it is here. Okay, there's some advantages in that. It makes it so that when you shoot a lot of loads to a gun, you don't have that stock coming back and hitting you in the face. It's actually moving away from your face because it's so low in the front. The only thing is that is really ugly. I know it probably served a purpose. Doesn't have a recoil pad or buttstock on it. Somebody added this piece of wood to the top, screwed it down with a big old screw. So what do you do with something like that? These old guns aren't worth enough to justify making a new stock because, first of all, this stock is very solid. The headwork, no cracks. Checkering is pretty good. Checkering's really good on the fore end. There's a lot of things right about it. It's just this comb. I can't live with it. I don't know anybody else that could either. It's hideous. So we got some ideas to try to make it acceptable without completely breaking the bank trying to fix this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a comb razor on it. I made a comb razor out of leather. Haven't dyed it yet, but I will. Here it is. It's going to go on here. Going to go back right next to the recoil pad. We're going to dye this mahogany. We're going to put this red recoil pad on here, and in between there, I got a piece of white vinyl fence here. I'm going to make a little thin white line spacer. The idea of that is this is going to be to make the stock look somewhat normal and to feel somewhat normal. So this comb razor is very thin here on the sides, especially on the left side where my face is going to touch it. But then on the top, the very top is super thick. So I made this out of a really thick piece of leather, and then I just skived it down. So I'm going to get busy here. It's going to take me an hour or two. Got to get this dyed. We're going to dye it mahogany with real dark brown edges. We're going to buff the edges, make them nice and polished. We're going to sand down this stock a little bit, try to get rid of some of that crack, that look. Fit the recoil pad and cut out the spacer. Maybe when we put it all together, it'll be half decent. I hope so. Okay, so I've got the comb razor on. I've got the recoil pad on. I have to sand this a little bit in here yet, not much. This is dyed color it's going to be. Comes up to my cheek really nice. It feels really good. I guess we'll see how it shoots. We'll see what it looks like when this is all stained back dark, and maybe this stock configuration will at least be something we can live with without having to restock this gun. Hopefully so. You know, I got this gun cheap, and you know, you kind of gotta decide what you can live with and what you can't. And that top piece that was glued and screwed on there, and the way it was shaped, it was shaped, I just couldn't live with it. I did forget to tell you, this is a BE grade, which means it's an ejector gun. Now the ejectors aren't working. One of them's broke, and so somebody just unhooked the ejectors, took the springs out. But I do have a parts gun. I'm gonna fix that so that the ejectors work. We'll shoot some trap with it after I get it all put back together, and hopefully that'll be a decent gun again. Still have a lot of years left. I was hoping that the white line spacer, even though it's not maybe not, I don't know, kosher for a gun of this vintage, I needed something to take your eye away from this up here, because yeah, this is weird here. So, but we'll just have to see. I think it's going to look really nice when I get it done, and I think you're going to like it. Okay, one more thing on the Remington 1894 trap gun, stock rescue. I wanted to talk to you about the difference between the 1894 and the 1900s. So back before the turn of the century, in the late 1800s, Lefevre, L.C. Smith, and Parker were all making really, really nice high-end guns. And Remington wanted to make a gun that could compete, which they did in the 1894. It's a very nice gun. You can get different grades. You can get really, really, really high-end 1894s. But Lefevre, L.C. Smith, and Parker all had a little low-grade blue-collar gun they marketed for the farmer and the poor working man that was carrying a lunchbox to work. They couldn't afford their nice guns. And they all made a really good gun, but it was very plain. Lefevre made the Nitro. Parker made the Trojan. And L.C. Smith made the Fulton. Then along comes Ansley Fox with all their nice, excellent grades. And they had to have one too, so they made the Sterlingworth. All of those guns in their own right were fantastic shotguns, just not as nice. Didn't have the eye appeal of the graded guns, they call them. So here comes Remington with their 1894, which went over good. Ejectors, yeah, nice wood, engraving, depending on what grade you got, more engraving, a lot of engraving, different grade barrels. They made Damascus barrels, and that's one thing I've learned about the Remingtons. Their Damascus barrels are really, really good. I've never, ever had a set of Damascus barrels fail on me. In fact, if you go back and look at Larry Potterfield's video from Midway, USA, he does a test on a set of Remington 1894 barrels where he keeps loading them heavier and heavier and heavier, and he's got the gun, you know, strapped down behind something he can't get hurt. And he has to, the way I remember this, you can go watch the video. It ends up that by the time he gets the barrels to fail, he's loaded up his ammo to almost 3 times what pressures they're made for. So that's my confidence in Damascus barrels on Remington shotguns. But back to the need for Remington to make a blue collar gun. Now they've got the 1894. The 1894 is going over big. There's a lot of guys that can't afford it. So they came out with, in 1900, they came out with a nice little gun that's called the Remington 1900. And if you ever get a chance to pick one up, they are great. They come out in 12 and 16 gauge. And they were fantastic little guns. They were almost identical to the 1894, except that they were completely plain, really plain wood. They were checkered. They made in several grades just because some of them had Damascus barrels and some had steel barrels. The KD K was the 1900. D stood for Damascus. And if it was a KDE, it was a 1900 Damascus with ejectors. So I've had several of each of those. They're all great. I've never ever had my hands on a 1900 that I didn't sort of fall in love with. So there you have it. That's the difference, the main difference. They have instead of this dealing edge style forend latch, they have just a snap-on forend like the Sterling Worth, like the Nitro, like the Trojan. There's nothing fancy there, no fanciness, just plain working man's gun, but a really nice working man's gun. Anyway, thanks for listening. God bless. And we'll try to not be so long getting another video out.